The song's so close to over, I feel like I might as well just run it out. Okay. Well, I timed it better this time. Anyways, I have to start the local server real quick. And then this is what we did last time. There's now a loading screen. And we have terrain generating. So, I feel like there are still a couple things that would be good to do. First of all, I think it would be good to make the map a square. So, set the height to width times 2 instead of height. And then, it would also probably be good to have it not depend on the, well, to have the size of the map not depend on the screen size. So having a bigger screen doesn't mean a bigger map. So, I guess I can just take j divided by width and I divided by height here. Then I should probably get rid of this. And then same here. Then I would need to get rid of those. Then I'm just going to multiply this by 5. So that should give us basically the same map, except probably smaller and more scaled up. So let's just reload. Okay. That's interesting. So the mountains are broken. Now, what do I do about that? Maybe I need to divide the height a bit, maybe by 5. And also, before I load, there's a simple optimization I should probably do. So that would, although I'm not sure. Actually, that might not work. I was thinking of moving this code for each point to here, but that would also mean I can't normalize it using the maximum distance because I wouldn't have generated all of the points once I have the height map. So I might not be able to do that. Anyways, let's try this. See if it does anything. Okay, that didn't really help. Oh, I know. I need to divide that, not multiply it. Whoops. Okay. Okay, so now it doesn't seem to be generating at all. So, I mean, the mountains they don't seem to be generating at all. I think what I have to do is the noise for the mountains is scaled up super far, which means that you don't really see them that much. So let's try multiplying by 10. Yeah, that seems to be the issue. So I think I'm going to scale that up even more. I'm not sure if I should like scale the terrain at all. Seems fine to me, I guess. Okay, 50 was far too big. Maybe if we make that 25. You're going to be seeing that loading animation a lot. I hope you like it. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. So now that means we have to make the player controls. So I think I should make a new file for objects. So I have to stick that in the HTML somewhere. So now I need a class for a player. So a player needs an x, y, and altitude. So does the loading animation run for a set amount of time? No, it doesn't. It runs for when the terrain is being generated. Although if the terrain typically takes the same amount of time, then yes, basically. So this dot x equals x. Saying this dot x will allow us to access this variable x from anywhere in the player constructor. I mean, like the player class. So now we need a function to draw the player. And before we do that, it would probably be good to have a camera position. So we can just set a position for the camera. So what we can do with that camera position is, using the terrain position data, I believe you can subtract the camera X position and the camera Y position. Actually, I think it's add. I don't know. So we can open the console. So we can change the camera position. Then we can reload this eventually. Come on. There we go. Okay, so let's try moving the camera position. Let's move it to 100. So it shifted. That's good. Let's move it to 1000. And it shifted farther. That is good. So now what we can do is maybe draw a temporary shape for the player, just for testing. Actually, let's make it a line for now. Oh, and the player also needs a rotation. Maybe 0 radians. So now is where mathy stuff starts happening. So I need to think about this a bit. Okay, so the first point will need to be at the x position will have to be the cosine of the rotation and times some value, maybe 50. And then the y value would be the sine. And then this is basically the same for the second point, except we have to add a value to the rotation. So that should give us pretty much a straight line. So we can say move to point the x value of 0.1 and the y value of 0.1, and then we draw a line to the second point and the y value of the second point, and then we can just draw a stroke, which will actually draw the line. However, we need to set the color of the stroke. Black would probably work. So that will set the color to black. So that just constructs the player object, but we need to actually make a player object. So that is how you do that. So we can set the x position to maybe 100 and the altitude to 500, for example, or I guess 0.5. So actually, we're not actually doing anything with this player object. We need to actually draw it. So you need to actually call the, wait a minute, that has to go after we draw the background. Much better. So let's see if this works. Okay, doesn't work. Player is not defined. Okay. Oh my goodness. I forgot to actually use the object.js file. Okay. Okay, point is not defined, object.js 15. Ah, that should be 0.1 and 0.2. However, given how fast those errors are coming in, it looks like the frame rate is really bad. So I think what we might have to do is have a hidden canvas, which my friend suggested I do. And we can call this background. And then we need to get the background. So you can just copy this, then paste, and then get the background. And then okay, so we would also have to set the width and height of the background. So I'm just going to copy this, set the width to the terrain width, and then set the height to the terrain height, whatever that. There we go, terrain height. And since it's a hidden canvas, we have to actually make it hidden. And then we would just need to do this once. So maybe we can say so that will be whether it's actually drawn to the hidden canvas, whether it's drawn the background to the hidden canvas. So we can copy this over and then put that into here. Except also change this to background. So this will draw on the hidden canvas instead of the actual one. So I also would need to actually draw the whole thing. So I guess I can I guess I can just use the background C instead of, well, the background canvas instead of the normal canvas for the width and height. So that should draw it to the hidden canvas, which means once it's, okay, it broke. Can't access lexical declaration background before initialization, line 6. Okay. Okay, background C. This should be background C, not background. Okay, let's try this again. So now once it's done loading, we shouldn't actually see anything, except we should be able to hover over this canvas and see what it's drawn, which should be the whole map. Okay, so as expected, it's not doing anything, and it's not drawn it to the hidden canvas either. So why not? Although I guess having the wrong canvas here, wait. Okay, need to copy that. Because having the wrong canvas width and height data wouldn't help. So, is there anywhere else I have that? I'm just going to highlight C. That will show everywhere there is a C. Which doesn't appear to be anywhere. Just going to remove that white space. Okay, let's see if that helps. Okay, still nothing. I also don't need these cameras here, since I'm just drawing the whole thing. I also believe I don't need this. So I can just set this to I divided by 4. Okay, still nothing. I'm honestly not really surprised at this point. I'm going to see if it's actually doing the pixels. Wait a minute. So I'm going to have it say what pixels it's been doing. So Okay, it is giving me a list of pixels, but it looks like their transparency is all set to 0. So that would be the problem. So let's do pixels index I, wait no, I have to do that inside the loop. So pixels index I plus 3, which is the transparency channel, and we'll set that to 1. Come on, reload. This is weird. Okay. Come on. Okay. Still not drawn anything. Pixeless is not defined. Okay. Just fixing a typo. Let's try again. Okay, still not drawing anything. Maybe the pixels value is between 0 and 255 instead of 0 and 1. And this should also be drawn instead of height map. And also, I'd have to set drawn to true here. Okay, let's try this. Okay, it has drawn something. So, that's very good. So, now I have to pick out the part of the hidden canvas I want to draw and draw it. So, I would need to do, you can just pretty much copy this over here, and then the position would be the camera X, and the camera Y, and the width would just be the width and height of the screen. So now I can copy put image data, stick that here, set this to draw, and that should hopefully work. And also hopefully be faster. Hey! Okay. Let's just move the camera. That was pretty quick. I think I'm gonna have it calculate the frames per second. Or is that the best way to do it? I should have a better idea. I'm just gonna calculate the time that passes. So yeah, performance.now minus t1. So performance.now gets the milliseconds since some time. I don't know the exact time, but somewhere around when the page starts. But it doesn't really matter since you're usually comparing it to performance.now at different times. So I'm also going to log 1000 over 60. So if they're the same, that would be good. Because that means, wait a minute. So that means this would be running at 60 frames per second, which is what I'm aiming for. And if it's lower, then that would be even better. Right now it's a whole lot lower. Okay, so still a whole lot higher. So I would ideally need some sort of better way to do this. Guess I can just look it up. Ah, draw image. I forgot this existed. So I can just put the background canvas. Can get rid of this. Is there anything here? Optional X coordinate, where to start clipping, width, height. So I want this to be at 0, 0. With a width and height of the canvas width and height. And I want to start clipping at camera.x and camera.y. And the width of the clipped image should also be the width and height. I think that's right. Let's try it, I guess. Okay. And it's broken. So this should be background C. I have background as the context and background C as the canvas. And this one's the canvas. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Same error. What did I mess up? So it does say background C. Wait a minute. I need... This thing should be draw image. I forgot to actually change the function it is. Okay. Let's try again. hey, it's drawing, and it's doing it pretty quickly. I'm just going to remove this real quick. Anyways, to test it, I'm just going to move the camera. Okay, I think it moved. I wasn't looking too closely, but I'm just gonna say it worked. Anyways, so the point also needs to be moved relative to the camera. Okay, let's reload this. Anyways, you can see the guy I'm drawing up in the corner here. So I'm just going to move the camera. Okay, so that seems to be working. This space over here is off the edge of the map. So now I have to actually make the plane dude move. And we're not going to let the player control whether it moves or not, because airplanes always move. Although I guess we can have the player control the speed. So I guess I'll say this stopped, speed equals maybe 50. And then for every frame, move the X by actually, we should probably make this its own thing so we don't have to calculate the sine and cosine too much anymore. So these are just the x and y coordinates of like the angle it's pointing at, if you know what I mean. So I can say this dot x plus equals x times this dot speed. So that will increase the x by the x component of the rotation. Then I can do the same for the y. So now the dude in the corner should start going. Okay, it's not moving. That's not good. So first of all, I can replace this with x. Sort of forgot to do that, and y. However, I can't do it for this, because that's something else in here. So what did I mess up? I'm not taking into account the x and y position in the points. So I need to add the x and add the y. Then same with the other point. Okay, now this guy should shoot along. Okay, that was pretty quick. I'm not sure if you caught that. I guess that means we have to make the speed a whole lot slower. So this was previously 50, now it's 5. So I guess it would also be good to have a velocity. So those would be the x and y velocity components. So we can just set this to, so we can just change this to this dot vx and this dot vy. So then we need the speed to affect the velocity. So I guess this would be more acceleration. So I guess we can set this to 1. And because drag exists, we would have to say this dot vx times equals 0.99. So that will reduce the velocity by 1%. And we have to do this for the y component too. So then we need to add the x and y to the acceleration. So this dot vx plus equals the x component of direction times the acceleration, and then same thing for the y. Okay. Okay. So I think we'll need to increase drag here. And it would also probably be good to start doing controls. So I guess we need some way to listen for keyboard inputs, and I have actually written this code before, so I just have to find it in some other project. Which would be a good one. It's probably in Exploding Marbles. Okay. So I'm just gonna have to go through the code a bit. Okay. There we go. So now you can just paste this in here. Change some of these variables. Okay. So now we can listen for keystrokes, which is nice. So I think we can do that up here. So if the A is pressed, then we can subtract from the rotation value. Same with D, except you have to add it. And also for W, we would want the acceleration to increase. Maybe to 5. Might be a bit much, but I don't know. And then otherwise, it'll just be set back to 1. So let's try this. Okay, can be turned. He's still super quick though. And an acceleration of 5 is definitely way too much. So let's set that to 2.5 maybe. It also increase the drag. Okay, that's a whole lot more reasonable. But I still think it might be too fast since this map is super small. And even with this speed, it would take a few seconds to get to the other corner of the map. And I should mention that this is only about a quarter of the map. So I'm just going to reduce this even more. Okay, that seems far more reasonable. But again, still a bit fast. Anyways, I think this would be a good time to do the camera. So the camera position, camera.x would have to be, so there's this weird notation trick. So I can say if player.x is less than c.width and then a question mark, then I can say if it's less than c.width, it'll be 0, and otherwise it'll be, actually this should be c.width divided by 2. Otherwise it will be player.x minus c.width divided by 2. And then I can have the same for the y. Okay, let's see if this works. Yeah, there we go. I think it might also be good to draw the map a bit smaller on the screen. So that would also mean, so we probably have to draw it bigger too. So I guess this does mean it'll take longer to load. But whatever. And I should also make the acceleration relative to the width of the width of the map. So maybe width over, although terrain width over, I don't know, 2000, and then we have this terrain width over 4,000. Okay, let's try this. I feel like at this point we might be going long enough to justify some sort of loading game instead of animation. Maybe next time. Okay, there we go. This seems pretty fun, to me at least, but the loading took way too long. Although, I think I have some sort of idea to fix that. So, if I just go into the... And also, this guy's moving way too fast. So, I'm just going to reduce that. Actually, probably even further. So, I don't think we actually need this. So, I'm just going to comment that out. And also comment that out. Then copy this code, paste it in here, and comment that out. Then can get rid of the hills thing. Guess I can just set this to 0. For now, at least. Okay. So that should make it run a whole lot faster without, well, hopefully not affecting the terrain generation too much. Because I didn't really notice those hills at all in the first place. I believe the reason it stopped is because it has to transfer all the information from the web worker to the main script, which stops the loading animation, so it can do that. Okay. And it broke. Okay. I think I screwed up copying this function over somehow. At least that's what it looks like to me. Although I'm not really sure. So I think I can just replace this with 0. Okay. So the terrain is definitely different. I guess what I can do is use a different type of noise instead of the incredibly slow noise I was using before. So I guess I can use some Perlin noise. Guess I can just copy this over, except not multiply it. And also use a far higher value to multiply by. Actually, forgot something. I need to absolute value this. Okay. Okay, train.js47. Okay. Need another parenthesis. Okay. Still has that problem. Ah. What did I screw up? I seem to have a bonus parenthesis somewhere. Somewhere in here. Well, I definitely don't need this twice. Except that's probably not the bonus parenthesis. I don't really know. I'm just going to copy this over, copy this over here, and then put this back where the hills would be. Okay, no errors, that's good. Okay, it broke. So what happened? Okay, this is Perlin 2. So that means we need 2 values. I'm just going to make it not generate as big. So loading won't take as long, so we can test easier. Okay. Okay, that's weird. What's happened there? Okay, times 500 should be in here. And here, and not outside. Okay. I feel like maybe this value to multiply by is a bit big still. And probably still a bit big. Okay, that's better. However, I feel like this could be a bit bigger. Yeah, that's better. I'm also going to divide this so it's a bit less obvious. Maybe by 5. Yeah. Much better. Anyways, the camera is still slightly broken. So I'm just going to do if player.x is greater than what would it be? Terrain width minus c dot width over 2, then it would just be terrain width minus c dot width over 2. Otherwise, it'd just be that. Then I can just copy this over. Except replace that with y and terrain height and height and height, and height, and y, and height. There we go. So now I should not be able to see any areas not on the map. Okay. That definitely didn't work right. So I believe this would have to be seed out width without the over 2. Okay, that seems to be working. Down the y direction. Also seems to be working. So that's good. So I think it would be good to highlight terrain that is higher than the same height or higher than the player's altitude. So the player's altitude is 0.5. Guess we can say, although I guess that would be pretty slow. I guess that'll be highlighted in the radar. So I guess we need some sort of thing to draw instead of the line. So I wonder if you can draw SVGs on a canvas. Okay. So it looks like you can do draw image within SVG source, which means we need to create some sort of airplane SVG. So I guess let's find Inkscape. Do I still have Inkscape? I do not. Okay. I mean, I guess this is already nearly 2 hours, so I guess I'll do that next time. And I'll install Inkscape